6 tweaks you can make to your site to boost sales. What makes the difference between a successful online product and an unsuccessful one? A lot of presentations will try to tell you there is a one secret trick or some key strategy, but the truth is that a successful sales page is the sum of its parts. Your success comes from countless small design decisions, aspects of your copywriting, your marketing, your audience, the pricing, and the advertising campaign. There is not one thing you can change, but rather thousands of things. Some of these things are very simply alterations you can make to your page itself. And while these might not turn you into an overnight sensation, they can certainly help you to improve your conversion rate and increase profits. So here are 6 tweaks to consider making right now. 1. Increase load times. A slow-loading site does a few things. First, it makes your site seem less reliable and less professional. This can make people less comfortable about buying from you. Secondly, it means your audience has to wait longer, which in turn means that they will very often leave before your page is done loading. Speeding up your site, which can be as simple as installing a new plugin, can thus help you make a lot more sales. 2. Change your font. The font on your site is a key factor that often goes overlooked. Not only does this contribute to the overall design of your site and the way it makes your audience feel, but it also determines how readable your content is. People don't like squinting. 3. Remove navigation elements. If you have a menu on your sales page, then you are inviting your audience to leave. Remove it. 4. Add a video. Video is underutilized when it comes to making sales. The goal of a good video is to help people understand the value proposition of your site and to understand what you're offering. You can even set this to autoplay. 5. Use a better image. One of the biggest challenges of trying to sell something online is that your audience can't hold the product in their hands. That means they can't feel the weight or the premium materials. Your goal is therefore to convey that through your sales page by choosing the right image. If your product listing currently has a small grainy image of what you're selling, then you should consider changing that. 6. Offer a money-back guarantee. This is a simple line you can add to your sales pitch that makes all the difference. That's because it will help people to overcome any sense of uncertainty when buying from you. They will now know that if they don't like what they're buying, they can get their cash back, no questions asked. The thing to realize as the seller is that very few buyers ever ask for a refund. That means there is no reason not to use this strategy, and every reason that you should. Content is king. 5 reasons you need to be producing more content. Content is what makes the web go round. You'll hear this a lot in marketing circles, but that doesn't make it any less true. Think about it. The internet is nothing if not a web of content. It is writing, it is video, and it is sound. All of that is content. If you don't have content then, you can't possibly stand out and stay afloat. You'll be drowned out by the noise. And if it's not enough simply to have content, it needs to be content that has high volume and high value. You need lots of excellent content. Here's why. Brand awareness. Studies show that people will only usually buy on the 7th or 8th exposure to a brand. It's by this point that they recognize the brand and trust it well enough to consider investing money. If you post regular content to your site or to social media, then you create lots of opportunities for people to be exposed to your brand and your message. Each one of those builds up and creates a greater likelihood that they will consider buying from you. SEO. Content is important for SEO. This is something that is overlooked too often. While there are countless strategies for increasing the search traffic that comes to your site, targeting keywords, building links, etc., the single most important and effective strategy is to add lots of content to your site. This is how the biggest and most successful brands on the web succeed. If you have hundreds of new articles on your site every month, you create countless opportunities to win at the SERPs and to bring in long-tail traffic. Eventually, you will succeed through sheer force. Return customers. People will come back to your site regularly if you give them a good reason to do so. If you post the odd article every few months, then people will quickly forget about you. But if there are lots of fascinating new posts every single day, then people might start to read your site each morning, or at least several times a week. Think about the websites that you visit on a regular basis yourself. They are all likely to be sites that provide you with an incentive to keep coming back. Brand loyalty and trust. The other reason to keep posting content is to develop your relationship with your audience and to build trust. Trust is a strange thing in that it very largely comes from familiarity and exposure. Simply seeing more of you ensures that your audience knows you better, likes you more, and feels more comfortable buying from you. This is as simple as posting regularly. Direct sales. Finally, keep in mind that each post can generate direct revenue from ads, or even by selling your products. If you include a reference to your product and a link in each post, they will then generate profit. You are now in a situation where each post pays for itself, meaning that there is no reason not to keep writing more of them. How to get people to talk about your product. There are few better forms of marketing than word of mouth. Think about the most successful movies at the theaters. They're not necessarily the movies with the biggest marketing budgets, though that helps. Instead, they're the movies that have the biggest impact on the culture around them. When a movie is genuinely exciting, thought-provoking, and different, it gets attention. People tell their friends, and they tell their friends. This is how you get your sleeper hits. So how do you get people to talk about your online product? How do you turn that into a sleeper hit? In this presentation, we're going to find out. The product itself. The first and most important point is that the product itself needs to be effective in driving discussion. This is something that not many internet marketers understand. How many online books are there that sell essentially the same thing? How are you going to get someone to talk about a book that teaches you how to make money when that is what 500 other books released this month are doing? Now consider something like the Vivo barefoot shoes. These are the toe shoes that you might have seen some people wearing. These things look so odd that just wearing them will invite questions, comments, and discussion. And of course, there are countless articles written about them. This isn't to say that everything you sell needs to break the mold and be completely new. Instead, you need to make sure that you find some angle that makes it interesting. You can sell a book on making money, but try to find some tip in there that is different and then make that into the USP. Find some way to make your product noteworthy. Story. They say that stories are SEO for the human brain, and that couldn't be more true. We love telling and sharing stories, so much so that this practice is ingrained into our very psyche by millions of years of evolution. If you wanted to make your product worthy of discussion, then find a story/narrative that you can promote. That could be the story of how you created the product, or it could be the story of someone who used it and was highly successful. Press releases. Next, you need a press release. This outlines news of your product or service in a way that will hopefully get news coverage from other websites or papers. The key here, though, is to use the previous two tips. Too many businesses expect press releases to essentially get them free coverage and advertising. This is not how it works. Journalists are serving their readers first, and so they will only cover your announcement if it is genuinely interesting to that audience. That's where having something genuinely new and different, or a real human interest story attached, will make all the difference. Failing that, a well-orchestrated PR stunt can do the job as well. Just think carefully about how you want to present your brand.